Hello and welcome to today's session. I hope you're all well from whichever part of the world you are watching or listening to me. Today, I'd like to talk about the all or nothing approach to our wellness offerings. I see this time and again how wellness leaders and hoteliers adopt the all or nothing approach to their wellness offerings. And the reason this approach is so familiar to me is because I've been there, done that, got the t shirt several times. I myself have fallen victim to this approach. And here is how it plays out. So we have a treatment or a service that isn't selling. So we automatically assume that that treatment or service isn't working. A brand we have in our spa might not be selling the way we thought it would sell. Hence, what's the conclusion we draw? The brand isn't good enough, or it's not working. Or if the spa or wellness operation isn't performing as expected, of course, we have to change the leader, the team, the entire treatment and services menu, of course, because nothing is working. And when we fall into this all or nothing approach, into this trap, we enter into this very, very dangerous area because we confuse the quick wins we get from just changing something temporarily with it being successful. So naturally, if we remove a treatment that isn't selling and add a new treatment that either the leader or the team is super passionate about, we are going to see an uptake in sales. Of course, if we bring in a new brand, we are going to see an uptake in sales. Of course, if we bring in a new leader, new team members, we're going to see an uptake in sales. But that is temporary. We all know that. Because once that initial honeymoon phase has subsided, the reality kicks in. And then we are back to square one. And then when we are back to square one, of course, nothing is working. And then we go and repeat that vicious cycle. And conversely, we've also seen the situations, and I have seen them and I have been part of them, where a treatment or a service is rocking. It's really selling incredibly well. A brand is being loved by guests and the team, and we're selling it like hotcakes. The wellness leader is super loved. The whole team, the whole wellness team is working incredibly well. Everything seems to be performing the way we think. So everything is working. Now, we all know that nothing is as amazing as we think it is, and nor is anything as bad and terrible as we have a tendency to paint it to be. Now, the moment we fall victim to this all or nothing approach, we stop being objective about our businesses. And I learned this the hard way. I have been on both ends of the spectrum. I have seen wellness offerings work so incredibly well, and I've also seen wellness offerings not work incredibly well. And you know what? They're all pretty much on the same spectrum. When you are faced with that situation, what I want to offer is let's evaluate the business. It doesn't matter if everything is amazing or if everything seems so terrible. When I'm working with my clients, I always start off with what is working. And I always start with what is working because naturally our minds will always go to what isn't working. I know, trust me, I will always look at the negative first. I have a tendency of doing that. This is not working. What can we do better? The first thing we do is evaluate what is working, particularly if we think that nothing is working, because there is always something that we are doing right, even if we are not seeing the results we want to see. And then after we have evaluated what is working and we have listed what is working, we go on to what isn't working. And this is particularly relevant for the times when we think everything is amazing, because rarely is everything amazing. There is always something we can fine tune, or there is always something that isn't working. But because something else is working, it kind of masks or shadows what isn't working. And the thing that isn't working will eventually overshadow what is working. That's why many times we see once successful offerings actually not have the success over a sustained period of time. And it's because they've ignored what isn't working. And once we've listed what isn't working, the last step is to ask ourselves, what can we do differently? Now, I use the word differently because I have a natural tendency to want to do things better. And when we think we can do things better, again, the energy we are putting and the stress we put our teams on is unbearable. And I know I've been there and I've done that. So when we think about what we can do differently, that just brings so much objectivity into our actual list of things. What can we do differently? And then once we've written that list of what we can do differently, we can choose which of those items we would like to action. We don't need to action everything we can do differently. But if we constantly evaluate our businesses, then we are able to make sure that we have these wellness concepts that become timeless. Because timeless doesn't mean that we implement a concept and we've nailed it the first time round, and then we don't need to do anything about it. No, to become timeless, to have the right, most profitable wellness concept that will continue to be that sustainably in the long term, we have to actively evaluate our businesses every day. And the all or nothing approach to our businesses does not allow us to put that objectivity into our businesses. And that is why many times our wellness operations only make 1 to 3% of total hotel revenue instead of 30 to 40%. Because what we aren't doing is stretching the way we think. We see something is working and we think that's either the cat's meow or the dog's bollocks. And if we see something isn't working, then that's simple. Change the treatment, change the brand, change the team, and you will see results. And again, all those results are very short lived, and we end up just following that vicious cycle. So, one way I have found to get past this all or nothing thinking and to actually get past that 1 to 3% of total hotel revenue that wellness represents, it has been to continuously evaluate what is working, because something is always working, even when we think something is so terrible. Then what isn't working? And then what can we do differently until we get the result we desire? And this helps take that subjective thinking or that subjective decision making from our wellness businesses. So today, I just wanted to jump in and quickly talk about this all or nothing approach we have in our businesses. And this is one of the reasons in my Essence framework, I have the stage called navigation. It is the course correction framework. And It is about ensuring that we're staying on track with our big picture goals. Because no matter no matter how great our teams or grand our facilities, we will not nail anything the first time round. There is always something we're going to have to fine tune, even if we have a very established brand, very established systems. There is always something that we're going to have to fine tune. If something has had success in another location, it doesn't automatically mean that that wellness offering is going to have success in a new location. Hospitality and wellness businesses are complex bricks and mortar businesses. We have different owners, we have different teams, we have different cultures, we have different guests, we have different rules and regulations. Everything is different. And we have to adapt our wellness offerings to this reality. And the only way we can effectively adapt our operations to each property's reality is by constantly evaluating our business. What is working? What isn't working? And what can we do differently? And if we do that on a daily basis, that simple step on a daily basis, we will see the incredible change our wellness offerings will live. It will encourage us to look at our businesses from a very different perspective. And not only us as wellness leaders, also our teams and every single stakeholder, our guests, our fellow hospitality leaders, everyone starts looking at our business from a very different perspective, a very different lens. And when we dare to do things differently, we're actually increasing, we're raising the bar of what is possible within our wellness offerings. And we don't get trapped under the good enough line that we think, okay, we've reached budget. That's what we are meant to get. And we are happy. So I just wanted to quickly jump in today on video um, to just talk about this all to nothing approach and to our wellness offerings and what we can do to keep that objectivity there. And on that note, I wish you all a beautiful day ahead. Take care now.